Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are making a bustier top with deep neckline yoke. So if this is something that interests you, kindly stay tuned to the end of the tutorial. So I've gone ahead to draft the basic bodice pattern, the shoulder line, the chest line, bust point, on the bust, waistline, and the top length. So I've formed my armhole as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and insert my dart line. The dart line is nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement is 8.5 divided by 2. That's 4.25 of an inch. So I will insert that on the bust point, waistline, and on the top length. Then I'm going to connect them together in a straight line. So on the under bust, I'm going to go out on both sides by 1 inch, like so. Then I'm going to go up by 1 inch on the top length. Then I'm going to connect those points together with a ruler, the way I'm connecting it now. So after connecting it together with a ruler, I'm going to connect those 2 points on the under bust to my bust point using my curve rule, like so. So after that, I'll go to my armhole line, and the center of the armhole line, I'm going to use my curve to connect the center of the armhole line to my bust point the way I'm connecting it, like this. This is because we are making a princess dart bustier. So after connecting it together like so, I'm just trying to blend the point on the bust point. So the next thing is that on that center of the armhole line, I'm going to go out on both sides by about half an inch or 0.75 inches. So I'll go out like so, then I'll connect those points that I went out to the bust points with my curve rule as well. So that means when I connect those points together, I'm going to disregard the first line that I made at the center. So that means I'm going to disregard this line that I'm shading now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go out on that down point. I'm going to go out by about 0.75 inches. Then I'm going to extend that curve to it. So after extending it to it, I'll take my armhole curve and I'll place it there to join to my bust circumference, and I've already formed a new armhole for the down part. The reason for this extension is to ensure that the center front and the side front fit together perfectly when we are sewing it, so that one side will not be longer than the other side. So now I've measured my bust circumference and I added 2 inches seam allowance. So for my waist circumference, I measured my waist circumference, then I added whatever I have in that inside that dart line, then I added 2 inches allowance to it. So for the top length, I'm going to insert my hip circumference of 12 inches, then I'm going to add 2 inches as my seam allowance to it as well. So I'm going to go ahead now and connect those 3 points together. So on the top length at the side, I'm just going to go up by 1 inch. So I'll go up by 1 inch like so, then I'll take my curve rule and I will curve that 1 inch into the top length. The reason for this is so that our top will have a slight shape at the side. So the next thing we are going to do now is to get where our yoke will reach, like how deep our yoke will be. So if you like, you can maintain the chest line, you can maintain the bust point, or you can go down even to the waistline to the under bust. I'm going to go up for my bust point by half an inch because I don't want it to be too deep. So how deep you want yours to be depend on your preference. You can go as low as the waist measurements. So on the chest line, I'm going to go in by half an inch. So I'm going to take my curve rule to connect from my armhole, the center of my armhole, like so. I'll connect it to reach the 1/2 an inch that I went in with on the chest line. Then I'm going to connect it from the chest line down to the place I want the length to get to, like so. So guys, we have created our yoke. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my neck measurements. The neck width I went for is 4 inches, and the neck depth is 3.5 inches. So I'm just trying to create my neck for this outfit. So after doing that, we are practically done drafting the front pattern. So I'm going to go ahead now to cut it off. So guys, this is our front panel after drafting it out. This is how it looks like. So I'll go ahead now to draft the back panel. So for the back panel, I've gone ahead to draft a basic bodice pattern, and this is my zipper allowance of 2 inches. Then I've created my chest line and my waistline plus the top length. So what I'm doing now is that I'm trying to insert my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So I inserted it on the chest line, on the waistline, and on the top length. Then I'm trying to form a straight line on those 3 points. So after that, I will go up from my top length by 1 inch, and I will go down from my chest line by 1 inch. Then on my waistline, I'm going to go out on both sides by 1 inch or half an inch. So I'm going to connect those points together to form my dart legs. So guys, I think it's advisable that you go out by half an inch on your waistline, so that it will not be too the waist will not go too inward. But if you prefer 1 inch, then there's no problem. So after that, I'm going to go to the center of my armhole like we did for the front panel. Then I'm going to connect together to the chest line, that like so. So after connecting it to the chest line, I'll go out on both sides of the center of my armhole by half an inch. Then I'm going to reconnect those points together to that point on the chest line. So like we did for the front panel, I'll go out by half an inch on that down part. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect that to my chest line to form a new armhole. So after forming a new armhole, it's time to form our yoke for the back panel. So I'm stopping my yoke for the back panel on the chest line. So I'm going to connect it from the center of the armhole like we did from the front panel, and I'm going to connect it down to my chest line like so. So this is what I have after connecting it. So the next thing is to go ahead and mark my neck measurements. The neck depth I'm going for is 2.5 inches, and I'm going for neck width of 4 inches. So I'm going to connect those 2 points together to create my neckline. So after creating the neckline, I'm just going to label this upper part yoke, because it is the yoke for the back panel. So I'm going to go ahead now to insert my circumference measurement. My bust circumference is divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. So for the waist measurement, I will start my waist circumference divided by 4. Then I'm going to add 2 inches that we are cutting off from the dart part to it, and I'm going to add 2 inches extra for my seam allowance. So for the top length, we are inserting my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'll add 2 inches as my seam allowance. Then I'm going to take my ruler and use it to connect those 3 points together to form my basic bodice. So on the top length, I'm going to go up by 1 inch like I did for the front panel, to give our top a kind of shape at the side on the down part. So after doing that, it's time to cut out our pattern. But before I go ahead to cut out this pattern, I'm going to eliminate any zip bulge on this pattern. So on my waistline, I'm going to come in from my zipper allowance by about half an inch. Then I'm going to connect that half an inch straight to the top of the top length of the top, like so. Then I will connect it to the chest line like so. So after connecting it together, I'm going to go ahead now to cut it out. So guys, this is the pattern for the back panel. So this is how it looks like after cutting it out. So this is the pattern for the front panel as well. So I'll go ahead now to cut all this out on my fabric. So guys, in the next tutorial I'm going to show you guys how I joined all these fabrics together to form my beautiful top. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one.